your parents want to go before you. And if they go before you and pass on from this world, guess what? You're going to be by yourself, and there's not going to be somebody visiting you at the prison and putting money on your books. You understand? Court is calling 2024 CR 3422, State of Texas versus Daniel Rodriguez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? For the defense?
For Mr. Rodriguez.
And are you Daniel Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Rodriguez, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented? Any objection?
None.
Mr. Rodriguez, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this agreement you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rodriguez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 10 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. There are no applications, and the state will take in consideration NIGHTMAG number 764122. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that are filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor, there been any such motion?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
Contained in Exhibit 1 of attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
All right. And the NIGHTMAG number, what case is that? What's the charge and the NIGHTMAG number that's being taken in consideration?
Possession 1 to 4, I believe.
All right. All right. You may be excused.
Thank you, Your
All right. Did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney?
Yes,
Did
ma'am.
you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence States Exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing States Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We would like the court to follow the plea agreement, Judge. It was a timely plea of guilty and a resolution of the case and acceptance of responsibility.
All right. And what is I see in the report that he was on, he had a parole violation. So what is the cause number of that?
I do not know, Judge, what it is.
Do you know which case you're on parole for? Is it the previous possession case?
It's the felony in possession of a firearm.
Okay. And how old are you?
39.
All right. So you're 30. And for you to be on parole means you've been to prison before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long were you in prison before?
18 months.
18 months? And how much time do you have left on your sentence?
I would have discharged October of this year.
All right. So do you have children?
No, ma'am.
All right. That's a good thing because you got to get your life together. So you need to make a decision on, do you want to spend the rest of your life in prison? Because if you do, Texas will accommodate you. There's always a place for somebody at the prison or a place for somebody at the Bexar County Jail. You understand?
I understand that.
All right. Do you have any family support?
Yes, ma'am.
His mom and dad are here in the courtroom. They've been here every sitting that I've been with Mr. Rodriguez. He had previous counsel, but I have been counseling with the family, keeping them up to date, and I invited him to be here this morning for this proceeding.
All right. So do you love your mom and dad?
Very much.
Well, you need to start showing it because guess what? This is breaking their heart. Now, you know, some parents maybe need to practice tough love and say, you know what, you're in prison. We'll see you when we get out. We're not going to put any money on your books. We're not going to write you any letters. But I'm sure your parents are going to meet you at the prison, come visit you on visiting day, put money on your books and all of that. So you need to start respecting their time and what they're doing. Because guess what? Your parents, they're not going to be on the planet forever. You understand? And what I can tell you is what my mom always tells me. I always say, Mom, I hope I go before you. She's like, no, Lord, no. Your parents want to go before you. And if they go before you and pass on from this world, guess what? You're going to be by yourself and there's not going to be somebody visiting you at the prison and putting money on your books. You understand? You're going to have to start making better decisions and stop chasing fast money. And you can't build your happiness off someone else's misery. And these drugs just contributing to somebody else's misery. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So get your life together. Court is going to find you guilty. The court is going to sentence you to a $1,500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. The court is going to take in consideration night mag number 764122. If you have a drug problem, I'll ask for the therapeutic community, but you'll need to ask them for it because I have no jurisdiction to order that for you. You understand? I can only request it. This will run concurrent with 2021 CR 0095W. And the court will sentence you to 9 years in the prison and give you credit for any time served. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Giving you 9 years instead of 10, that wasn't for you, that was for your parents. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Calling 2024 CR 5145, State of Texas versus Missy Ann Torres. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris Abel.
Defense?
Robert Barron for Ms. Torres.
Are you Ms. Torres? Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Judge, and just for the record, we want the court to know her name is Missy Ann Torres, not Missy Anya.
All right. Missy Ann Torres, is that correct? Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes,
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes,
State any amendments to the indictment?
Waiving count one proceeding on counsel, Your Honor.
Without objection.
And then with regards to her name, do you want to include an AKA?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And that AKA, I'm assuming, will be Missy Ann Torres?
Yes, that's her correct name, Judge.
Is that ANN?
Yes.
It is.
thank you.
All right. Any objections?
None.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes,
All right. Off the record. So the scheduled drug y'all have, it says penalty group 1. So
Yes.
it one and it's 1 and 1B.
It's just one, Judge. One.
Okay, do y'all want to correct that? Is it 1 and 1B?
It is, Your Honor,
Okay,
at least according to version 19 of the Texas DPS
Okay.
offense code.
all right. Do you have any objections?
Don't judge.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then, did you understand the state is proceeding on count 2 of the indictment? And count 2 of the indictment is possession of methamphetamine, 4 to 200 grams. Did you understand?
Yes.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Did you understand the range of punishment for this offense is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
Yes, and I believe she's competent to enter her plea and was legally sane at the time of the offense.
Ms. Torres, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you in this,
No,
to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargain agreement, state is proceeding on count 2. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at 6 years in the prison, and they're solid on your application. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Judge.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
There have not, Judge.
Then to the offense in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Stated in Exhibit 1 attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
Did you review the waiver and appeal? The waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state would be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements, police reports, and laboratory reports? But most importantly, there'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Do you all want a full PSI on this? Because what I would need to know is, of course, whatever evidence or witnesses that would be presented to the court, and I need to know her criminal history.
Well, her criminal history is,
Well, no, the reason being is because there's an application for deferred adjudication. If we do a PSI, the PSI is going to take some time.
Right.
So if you all want to provide that information to me at sentencing, then it would be a matter of, if you have witnesses, when are you able to have your witnesses present?
we won't have any witnesses other than possibly Ms. Torres.
All right. So y'all want to come back in 2 weeks?
Sure.
All right. You want to come back in 2 weeks?
That's it.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can we have this brought back in 2 weeks? All right, we'll be back on June 30th at 9 a.m. At that time, the court will make a decision on your application.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you, you too.
Finish up with the probation.
All right.
Yeah, it's-
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's a Monday.
All right, pass it back. You all will be here by yourself on Sunday. All right, we'll be back on July 1st. All right, who is here on Bobby Joe Rivera? Court is calling 2024 CR 5258, State of Texas versus Bobby Joe Rivera. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state defense? And are you Bobby Joe Rivera?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Rivera, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Rivera, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you understand you're charged by indictment with theft under $2,500 enhanced? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do, and I believe he's competent to enter his plea.
Do you believe he was sane at the time of the offense?
I do.
Mr. Rivera, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No,
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Sorry,
no, ma'am.
are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 9 months in the state jail facility, and there are no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Judge.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No.
Then to the offenses charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
Contained in Exhibit 1 attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
Right, state, you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it at all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We just asked you to follow the plea bargain, Your Honor.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Bobby Joe Rivera.
All right, why do you keep stealing?
I had a drug habit.
All right, so what's your drug that you use? All right, that's a tough drug to kick. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow your agreement. I'm going to find you guilty, sentence you to 9 months in the state jail facility, give you credit for any time served. There's to be no contact with Walmart, and I'll request the therapeutic community for you. They will be able to address any drug issues that you may have. I can't force them to place you in the program, but will have in the judgment that I've requested it for you, but you'll need to ask for it as well. Do you understand? When you're ultimately released from the state jail facility, people always have this idea that they're going to stay clean and sober. But then once they go back to the same environment, they start using it again. So when you're released from the state jail facility, if I'm still here, you can come back to this court and I will direct you to a sober living house. Okay. All right. I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and let me just take up the matter with Cortez. Do we have a date for them yet?
I'm waiting on Jason.
Okay.
It's getting the discovery agreement.
All right, so once you all do that, then just approach and we can go discuss whatever needs to be
Thank
discussed. You're welcome. All right, who is here on Solis? We're back on the record in 2022 CR 6025, State of Texas versus Frank Edward Solis V. We were on recess so that he could perform a UA probation. What are the results?
Negative, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I'm very glad for you that it was negative. Otherwise, things potentially would be going in a different direction. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. I do have one other request.
Yes.
Mr. Solis made a donation to the San Antonio Food Bank in an effort to pay off his community service hours. That was done without the court's permission, of course. And our officer has not been able to send in the request for you to give him credit. So I respectfully ask that you give him credit for his community service hours based on his donation of $320.
All right, well, the court does $7.25 an hour, I believe.
Yes, Judge.
And 40 hours of his community service hours were supposed to be waived if he attended some sort of trade school certification. Did he ever do that or no?
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, ma'am, it was, if I received my COVID vaccine, which I did receive the COVID vaccine. I emailed it to my probation officer and it's definitely on record.
All right. And so just so the record is clear, because I don't want anyone to think that the court is ordering or ordered people to get the COVID vaccination. During the time when we had COVID and people were on lockdown, there was no place for people to do community service hours. So I would tell people, this is the number of community service hours you need to do. You can pay it off, or if you want to get the COVID vaccination, you can, and the court will consider that. But the reason why the court was doing that is because there was no place to do community service hours. I think all parties were aware of that at that time. All right, so I'll give him credit for doing that. All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court will deny the motion, alter and amend conditions. Court is going to extend you for 6 months. You're going to be available for field visits. If you miss a field visit, they're going to file a motion to revoke. Do you understand? So there's going to be field visits one time per month for 4 months. There's going to be the UA hotline until further notice. Probation, I know that both parties, probation and state, is asking for GPS. And I'm assuming you're asking for GPS because y'all want to make sure that he reports. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
And-
However, Judge, we can do maybe bi-weekly reporting for 60 days.
Yes.
That'd be an excellent, Judge.
All right. Because I realize that he has children because I ordered parenting classes.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, he completed those.
Did you complete those?
Yes.
What did you learn?
I learned to be very patient with my children. I learned to be available and to communicate and just to be there. Just being there is the most important thing you can do, not to be absent.
All right. And then the court will do bi-weekly reporting for 6 months. Probation, is there anything else he needs?
6 months, Judge?
Yes. 6 months. Is there anything else you need from the court?
Judge, that's it. We just would like to quote them to know that he does have some redeeming value. he's done everything. He's paid off his probation. He's done all his classes and he just had some stupid decision-making processes and he's having to pay the price.
And Judge, he's working a lot. He has an overnight shift, graveyard shift, which is primary source of income. He repairs parking lots and deals with the landscaping at night because parking lots are empty. And then he has a part-time job repairing cars for a dealership, which the dealership pays him per car. So he's incredibly busy, which is why I think he was able to pay off all his fines and he was able to pay off his community service, at least make that. So we're grateful for this opportunity for him to speak on.
All right, so we can do bi-weekly reporting by Zoom. And then if he completes everything and there are no issues, you can always come back to request early termination, but the court is not going to consider any early termination until 6 months have at least passed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right, is there anything else?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
Who is here on Frank Edward Solis, the fifth?
We're ready.
All right. Court is calling 2021 CR 6025, State of Texas versus Frank Edward Solis the fifth. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
Christopher Ramos and Paul Acevedo for the defense.
And are you Mr. Solis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorneys? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Frank Edward Solis the fifth who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2021 CR 2021 CR 6025? Thank you. For the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams on August 19, 2021 for a period of 5 years. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Violated condition number 5 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Frank Edward Solis V. The defendant failed to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of April, August, November, December 2023 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Your Honor, we'll waive the remaining violated conditions.
Any objection?
No objection.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 5, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5?
True.
No. Do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5,
Yes,
knowing that I could sentence you to prison to 20 years?
ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 5 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. It's to deny the motion, continue the individual was deferred. Amend the conditions to include GPS for 90 days. Continue with field visits every over the course of those 90 days. Bi-weekly drug testing for 90 days with recovery healthcare.
All right. You want to raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Frank Edward Solis the fifth.
All right, why are you not reporting?
I was going through grievance, ma'am. My stepdad currently going to be passing away. He had a stroke, and I've been dealing with that. It's been a rough patch in my life. He raised me. I've just been going through it with that. It kind of hit a depression, and just not reporting. It's kind of like just, was just passing by.
Why didn't you pick up the phone and call probation if you were going through something? I tell everybody if there's an issue, just call your probation officer. Now we're here with you having never reported.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
No, I mean, I know you understand now, but my question is, why didn't you?
I just feel like, I didn't have the energy. I know I should have. I made a mistake, and like I said, it was.
No, you made choices.
Yes, ma'am.
Any objection to the court reviewing the court summary?
No, no objection, Judge.
All right, because this is what it says in the court summary. And probation, I guess they're doing this progressive sanction method. So they're recommending this, and they say that you failed to do your 60 hours of community service restitution. They say you're never home for your home visit. So where are you? Because they say you're never home for your home visits.
I'm working. I work 2 jobs, ma'am. I have 2 children. I'm actively involved in their lives.
All right, so During the time that you were not reporting for probation, how many days' work did you miss?
I didn't miss work, ma'am.
You didn't miss that, but you missed reporting to probation where I could send you to prison for 20 years. And here's the thing, I understand everybody goes through different trauma. Maybe they have somebody who's in hospice, but they still pick up on the phone and call. And I guarantee you, if you had someone who was in hospice or going through things, you wouldn't just not show up for your job and then come back 6 or 8 months later expecting your job to be there and tell them I was going through things. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
And they say your last negative UA was June 3rd. So has he done a UA today?
No, Judge.
All right, if you're tested today, what are the results going to be?
Be clean, ma'am.
All right, let's UA him and I'll come back and make my decision.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, Layla Tanton.
Hi, Judge.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. This is a status check, so I haven't spoken with the DAs about this, because Ms. Stanton's been on probation, and I've been speaking with Sean about it, but she was placed on probation, was kept in custody to go to DDRS.
Yes.
Significant time passed. Unfortunately, she did pick up a misdemeanor case, which then kicked her out of line. We came back to court. We resolved all of that in April. And got her back in line for DDRF, and here we are in June. And she has not left yet for DDRF. As of yesterday, she is 6th in line for a bed, but given she's been in custody, I want to say at least 9 months at this point, maybe longer, waiting for a bed. And so I didn't know if the court would consider amending not to require her to go to DDF. She has a place to live with her mother out of county, which the court has, I think, already approved. But she spent a lot of time in custody for a probation case, you know.
All right, so part of the reasons why you had extra time waiting for DDRF, that's 100% on you because you picked up a new charge. You understand that?
Yes.
All right, so probation, where are we on DDRF?
Judge, the report that was sent to me is she is 6th in line. They do not give us a timeline on when it's gonna happen. I can tell you on the
6th or 7th of June, she was
She was
10th
10th
in
in
line.
line.
So four
So-
people have left.
4 people have left
Yeah.
since then, so I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks, she would be already placed.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna recall this in 2 weeks.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, if she's not transferred to DDRF as a backup, is her mom here in Bear County or no?
Her mom is not, I want to say near Houston, yeah.
All right,
Houston.
so just in case DDRF hasn't picked her up, I would like to have her mom by Zoom.
But we can definitely do that.
And then we'll see if her mother understands what the issues are and whether that would be a good placement or not.
Of course, yes. That sounds good.
All right, so Ms. Ferguson, can you recall this in 2 weeks, please?
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are you going to do it July 1st?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to do it?
Oh, sure.
All right, so what we're gonna do, this is the plan. We're gonna come back on July 1st. If you're already in DDRF, you won't be here. You'll be in DDRF. But
Judge,
yes,
oh, I'm so sorry.
yes.
Can we do July 2nd instead?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
All right, so here's the plan, a new plan. We're gonna come back on July 2nd. If you've been transferred to DDRF, you won't be here. You'll be at DDRF. If you have not been transferred to DDRF, then your mom will be here by Zoom as a backup because I don't like to put people in environments that may not be conducive to them being successful on probation. And the court's main concern is mental health.
Right.
All right. So that's where we are.
Perfect.
Anything else we need?
Not today, Your Honor.
All
Thank you
right.
for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. All right. Who's here on Daniel Maestas? Who's here for Daniel Maestas? All right. Are you all ready? Long time no see.
I know.
Did you finish the trial?
No, that's next week. Last week I had.
Okay. All right. So do you have all the discovery?
No, Your Honor, and the reason is that there's been additional cases filed. There's
There's one that's unindicted that was, or it's gonna be coming down.
And then there's also two
Misdemeanors.
non-family violence cases that he picked up last month, Judge.
All right, so the additional cases, what are those charges?
One is, so there's a pending indictment for assault second with a different victim. There's a pending indictment for stalking, and then there's a possession that's from last month and one other that I can't think of. That's, which one?
Terrorist offense.
Terrorist offense already been filed. I feel like there's one other CTP one that just got picked up last month.
All right, so counsel, are you the attorney on all of those cases?
I believe so.
All right. So Norma, there's a judge's warrant that I placed upon him. Is that judge's warrant still active? It should be a judge's warrant and remanded without bond on this case. So is it still there?
He's already been booked in on the warrant there, so the warrant wouldn't be active, he's already booked in on it.
No, I just want to make sure that that warrant is not lifted. Usually they know not to lift it when I say judge's warrant.
Yeah, correct.
All right. So if I can have this recalled, and how much time do you all think before she can have the discovery? I know with the possession case, there are labs.
Yeah, it'll take a minute. The other one, we double check that one, Judge. Already cleared away. Probably just 30 days for the other one,
All right.
because I know it wasn't an edit case.
All right. Can I get a 30-day reset on his case, please?
Yes, ma'am, it'll be July 16th.
July 16th?
Yes.
All right. We'll be back on July 16th for discovery, and state you need to be prepared to make an offer.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Is there anything else?
Your Honor, they also have him under the last name of Chapa. Yeah, he has an AKA.
All right. So he doesn't have any
It is Chapa.
cases listed for CHOPPA, does he? I guess he
We
does.
couldn't find him this morning, so. Yeah, there's cases listed under two last names.
Okay.
We'll have to figure out how to get it on.
They were supposed to fix it last time, because that isn't.
All right, we will fix it.
All right. Is there anything else? We're going to go on the record. The court is calling 2021 CR 8084B, State of Texas versus Joseph Ramirez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris Edelman.
For the defense?
Albert Chidas for Mr. Ramirez.
And are you Mr. Ramirez? Council has filed a motion to set bond. State, have you had a chance to review the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state, are you in agreement with the motion to set the bond at $20,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any requests for conditions? All right. The court will note for the record that the defendant is currently on probation with the court. The court is aware of the defendant's history. The court is aware of the defendant's health issues, mental health issues, if they exist, which they do not. The court is aware of his mental health issues, which they do exist. The court is aware of his physical condition as well. The court will grant your motion to set bond at $20,000.
Thank you.
All right. When you're released, you will need to make sure that you check in with probation.
Yes.
Probation technically will not supervise you, I have learned, unless the motion to revoke community supervision is heard. Ms. Ferguson, this is set for July 8th. Could you provide Mr. Ramirez with a reset form? And you'll need to be here on July 8th at 9 a.m. for a contested hearing. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you all ready on my Kesha ciphers? All right, so are we here for a motion to revoke? What are we here for?
We are, and prosecution has asked us to provide additional documentation. I would request a continuance to do that, Your Honor.
All right. And what is going to happen with this new number one that's in the motion?
It has been dismissed, Your Honor.
Okay, so then the only thing in the motion to revoke is, I guess, fine, community service hours.
The documentation that's been requested is that she had an accident with an 18-wheeler and was undergoing therapy, and we're going to present the evidence to the prosecution showing that she was given a waive, if you will, for a period of time while she was going through therapy on it.
All right. So state, without that documentation, are you going to be asking for revocation? And probation, what is going to be your recommendation in this case? All right. How long is it going to take you to provide documentation?
She lives in Houston. I don't know how long it's going to take to put that together. She tells me it shouldn't take too long, week to 2 weeks.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, recall this for a contested hearing in 3 weeks.
I
All right.
would have picked it myself.
All right, we'll be back on July 9th. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Yes.
Okay.